На кой? Той линк ще ти го пратив, така? Добре.
Колко трябва, знаеш? Това е двутина.
Се слушам? Не се слушам, така?
Трябва да чекам. Се слушаш.
Се слушам.
Много късно. Айде, я се слушам. Добро се слушаш, бе? Супер си.
Добре, кюти, сега ќе дойдат. Ќе дойдат луѓе. Абе, кюти, бе. Презентацията. Hello everyone, we have 5 more minutes and then we'll begin. Aj stavi voda, može? Evo, u ovo ste. Here we are, folks. 2 more minutes and we will begin. All right. Hello, everyone that is joining us. We are very sorry that we messed up the link. First time streaming via YouTube. So I hope you understand. So that's why, because we just sent the email out with the updated link. We're just gonna wait for 2 more minutes until we start. And I really hope you don't mind that. Hello, Nitesh. Great to have you here. All right. Well, I think that everyone is here. Not everyone, because we messed up the link, but then again, stuff happens, right? So let's begin. So we're going to talk about the cold email outreach setup that we use to grow an e-commerce store to 2.5 million in annual recurring revenue. And the most important part of this presentation is that we're going to worry about how to set up the email sequence and how to set up the tools around that, so you can achieve scale of 100,000 emails per day, just like we did. So that is going to be the outcome of the webinar, is enabling you by the step-by-step guide to do that the same thing yourself for whatever business you're working for. So let's begin, right? We're Instagram Influencers Club. Currently, we have a little bit of less than 300 employees. We started focusing on Instagram automation back in 2015. From there, we grew our company from Macedonia to San Francisco. We have headquarters in London and Germany. But from there, I kind of decided to step down a little bit as my position of a CEO, and then focus on something that is more B2B. So I was the first employee of a data company in San Francisco that we just recently sold to AWS, and now I joined Instana as a senior growth engineer, and I'm working here as well. So we focused on Instagram automation back in 2015, and then the way that we grew our company was with cold email outreach, and then only that, because we could do that very easily and at scale. So while that part of the business was doing great and is still doing okay, Instagram has become a lot tougher on automation, any kind of automation really. So that's why we kind of transitioned to be more of a data provider and not bother with all the Instagram things. So there's nothing hidden, right? Like here's what I'm telling you. You have a little bit of offer at the end. So everything else is just going to be random tools that we have no affiliation with, and kind of want to enable you to set up your own structure. So that's that. I would appreciate any comments in the comment section on YouTube. So let's talk about the table of contents, right? We're going to talk about what to do before you even start sending out emails, how to prepare for sending, how to outsource follow-ups because you're doing it at a big scale. You can, the third step will not count if you want to do it on a way smaller scale. But if we want to reach to 100,000 emails per day, then it has to be outsource the follow-ups. And then the fourth thing, which is the most important, the data and the legal aspect of it and why the time is now, right? So let's start with who is this webinar for. So this webinar is for growth leaders. I mostly invited, if I have invited you on LinkedIn, or you're probably a growth leader at either a marketing agency, a growth agency, or you own your e-commerce store or heading the marketing there. And this is for anyone who's not afraid to try out new things and experiment, right? Like we all know the world of Facebook ads and how amazing that is, right? Especially for e-commerce stores. But what we are suggesting here is kind of a different approach that has not been used for e-commerce. That being said, I know that coming and working for a B2B company, outbound emails are pretty much the standard, right? And that's what any company does, whether that's a small startup or a company at a huge scale, like Hire, right? Like thousands of employees, they still do cold outbound daily to try to get new leads. So our kind of thought was, let's provide the same thing that B2B businesses are doing. Let's provide the same thing for B2C businesses. So that's why we started this company. So let's talk about email. So email is not dying, right? Like 293 billion emails are being sent, were sent in 2019. And I know that this number gets thrown out a lot. Of how increasing the number of emails that are being sent is going, but the thing is that even though there's more population and more people are sending out emails, there's a very deep reason behind it, right? Like when you think about it, email is the only unique place where a person can reach you on the internet. Facebook tried the same thing with Facebook Messenger, and they became a lot strict for that. So Facebook Messenger is not working. Instagram, TikTok. Like all those cool tools come and go. Email is the only unique place on the internet where someone can find you. So that's why it's still here after 20-25 years of existence. I don't know even how many. It doesn't matter. So these are the two slides that are borrowed from Drift. Drift is a company that does conversational marketing. So email has a staying power. 70% of consumers agree that email will still be around in the next 10 years. And that's a very huge fact, right? Like, think about the number of people that believe that email will still be around. You cannot say that for any other platform. Like, Facebook was here. It was a huge thing 10 years ago, and everyone was on Facebook. And now gradually, Facebook is losing active users, even though in the numbers it's gaining some, but it's losing on Instagram, even though Instagram is the same company, right? But Instagram is gaining popularity. I think Instagram at its peak, and now we can see that even Instagram is being replaced by TikTok, and TikTok is gaining a lot of traction. And all of these platforms come and go, and the only thing that stays is email. What fascinates me about this statistic is if you look at the number, 68.9% of 18 to 24-year-olds believe that Instagram will be still around in the next 10 years, which is amazing because if you're thinking about, okay, times are changing, right, and something will change, then you're looking at the younger generations because they're the one that lead change, but that's not happening for email as a channel. So that's why we think it's really, really valuable. And that's why we want to bring kind of the idea of sending out emails for B2C businesses to you guys. So let's go to the next slide, which is what to do. So this is now getting into the details, right? As we mentioned, this is a step-by-step guide on how you can replicate the process of us sending 100,000 emails per day. And that's why we have to go into the details. So if you're not very technical, don't worry about it, right? I'm going to send out the presentation afterwards either way. So you can so you can replicate this, take this to your developers, marketing person, whoever it may be, to kind of do this process for you. So this is a process of reaching that scale and not landing into a spam folder, which is what outbound companies need to worry about. So 3 things that you want to do before sending out. So let's say that you want to reach a goal of, I don't know, 10,000 emails per day to your ideal prospects. First thing that you need to do and you have to do is warm up your IP. A lot of people are starting out with brand new domains, brand new accounts, and want to send out massive amounts of emails per day, and that's not how it works, right? Like Google is smart and it is becoming increasingly smarter now with AI. If there's a spike in volume, you'll trigger a lot of filters that's going to say, okay, this person has been sending out email 1, 2, 3, 5 emails per day, and now he wants to send out 1,000. That's not right? Like, let's put him into the spam folder, even if it's just in case. So you want to make sure that your IPs are warmed up, and I'm going to explain a process of how you can do that. Then it's creating multiple accounts, and that's based on how many emails you want to send out per day. So if you have a number, we have a formula that you can follow, and based on that formula, you can figure out how many accounts you need and how many accounts you need to warm up to start sending at a scale that is fitting for your business. And then setting up DNS records. This is very easy to do. Every provider has its own way of setting this up, but we're going to talk about that. So, okay. First step, let's talk about these 3 things. Warming up IPs. This is how we do it. If you take a look on the left side, those are all the emails that we have from either different domains, Gmails, emails of friends, emails of your mother, father, brother, sister, whoever it may be. Those are the emails that you can get access to and you can use to warm up your emails for sending. And what I mean by that is you cannot have an email. So let's say that we want to warm up b@instasaleshub.com. So b.instasaleshub.com will start sending out emails. So we create the account and we say, okay, let's warm it up. Let's start sending emails and get replies. Getting replies is what simulates a conversation, right? And that's the best thing to do to warm up your IPs. And the way to do that in the beginning, like when we are starting out, the first thing we do is we worry about sending emails, even if it's manually, to all the other emails that we have and get replies back. So what I mean by that is b@instasaleshub.com sends an email to Nicola at ARMX.io, sends an email to Dan, Stefan, B, and Koki, whoever it may be, and all of these emails respond back to B. What's that telling Google is that, okay, this newly created account is another person in the company, and now they start sending out emails, right? So this is a legit email address, and we'll keep an eye on it, right, if the volume increases, but for now, it's legit. And what this is going to enable you is that sometimes Google has a bad practice of putting emails that are newly created, if you start sending out immediately into the spam folder, and somebody has to get you out of it. And because you have access to these emails, you can do it yourself, right? Like you can get an email out of the spam folder yourself. And that's amazing. So we do that for all of our emails that we need to warm up. And that's what we do in the first few days of creating new email accounts. Then this is a tool, Lemlist. So Lemlist is a tool for cold outreach. There's tons of them. The neat feature about Lemlist, again, no affiliation with Lemlist. The neat feature about them is that they have a feature in their product that is called Email Warmup, as you can see here. And what that does is it connects you to every Lemlist user that is subscribed for this feature, and a lot of them are. And you send emails to them and you get responses back. And the neat thing about that is, without you lifting a finger, they're warming up your IPs because you're sending out emails and you're getting replies. I haven't seen this for any other tool. That's why I'm recommending Lemlist. But if you can find it for any other tool, then you're free. Feel free to use them. So this is what an email looks like. I've sent an email to Conrad It's a randomly generated text. And then Conrad responds back to me. And while doing that, Conrad marks my email as very important and labels it, to go into the inbox. And that's an amazing feature for Lemlist. Yeah, so let's talk about the warm-up schedule now. So let's say that in a perfect world, right, you started warming up emails with your other accounts, and now you want to do you're subscribed to Lemlist, but you want to increase that, right? So we have a schedule divided by weeks, right? And this is 2 months of sending out emails. And how many emails you need to send out in week 1, week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you need to gradually increase the number, right? So week 1 is sending between 10 to 20 emails, and this is random, right? Like don't send 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Let's say that the first day you send 10, then 13, then 17, then back to 12, or something like that, right? Like we are trying to simulate a real human behavior. So this is the warm-up schedule that we use, right? Like 10, then 20 to 40, and gradually increase that to reach to 700. And that's what our limit is. Even though Google has higher limits for sending out emails per account, we don't want to push it, right? So I would rather create another email account. It's costing me $6 per month, which is nothing. Then max out all of the accounts on one provider. So create multiple accounts. Now this is for us, right? Like our formula is figure out the daily limit. Let's say the daily limit is sending out 7,000 emails per day, right? Like that's your ideal scenario. You want to send out 7,000 emails per day. Then if you're sending out 700 at scale per account, then you need 10 accounts to send 7,000 emails per day. So when starting out, try to figure out what's the ideal number of emails you can send, and then divide that by 700, and then figure out how many accounts you need. So in creating the accounts, even if it's a one-person company, right, like you're doing this yourself, which I wouldn't recommend because it's a high scale, right? But still, if you're doing this yourself, create accounts like Nikola.Petrov, Petrov.Nikola, NP. You get the point, right? Like be creative around what's going on, because if you start using fake names, then it won't be great because you're scheduling calls and people want to meet you and so on. So keep that in mind. Setting up SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So these are just tags. They're telling the email providers that, hey, we're sending out emails from our domain. Google, since 3 months ago, does that automatically, the SPF and DKIM setup. I don't think you need DMARC unless you're emailing large corporations that have other very strict security rules, but it's still mentioned, right? It's nice to have. So Google is doing this by themselves. The thing is that keep in mind that if you're not using Google as a provider for your company email addresses, then you can find for everyone, you can find how to set this up, but make sure you do. Otherwise, your emails look very sketchy and are way more likely to end up in the spam folder. So let's see now if we have any questions up until now. Okay. 1 second. No. Okay. Should the sending be done in one email or in separate? Separate. I think we went that through. Send emails to those email addresses. You do that in one email for each email address, or just send out an email and CC all the listed email addresses. No, don't CC. So you're sending out emails separately. No confusion there. Like all the communication is one-to-one. Don't CC anyone. Try to stay on one-to-one communication. Do you recommend G Suite versus Gmail, or it's the same? It's the same thing, right? Like G Suite is just a paid version of Gmail. All right, thanks a lot for the questions. Let's move on. So you'll have a lot more things that we can cover at the end, right? So let's ready to rock and roll. So let's talk about the toolings. Now, like we're gonna talk about GMass, schedule, sequence, and spam test. And let's begin. GMass. So the thing about Lemlist is that their plan, which is above 500,000 emails. So if you wanna send 700 emails per day with Lemlist, it's gonna cost you $100 per account, which is a lot, right? Like if you're sending from 100 accounts, then right? It's way too much. So for us, reaching that scale is the best tool that we found was GMass. You can do everything in GMass, right? There are follow-ups included. You get statistics. It's just not visually pleasing because everything happens with your in your inbox. Like you can look at stats in different labels and so on. So it's not like Lemlist, which is super user-friendly, right? Like you log in, you can see all the details and stuff like that. But if you want to go at scale, GMass will do the job 10 times for 1/10 of the cost, and you will still get the same results. Because keep in mind that all of these outreach tools, it doesn't matter what it is it GMass, Lemlist, Mailshake, Reply.io, Outreach.io, right? Whoever it is, they are sending out email from your G Suite account. So for deliverability, it doesn't matter which tools you use. They have nothing to do with deliverability because you are the one in charge for that. Those tools are only providing the sending, right? So again, if you want to reach scale, then GMass is a tool for you because unlike Lemlist, which costs $100, this costs $9.94 per month per user. Again, no affiliation with GMass, no affiliation with Lemlist. I'm just letting you guys know what we have used. So let's talk about the schedule now. So I had the pleasure of sending thousands of emails for B2B and then thousands of emails for B2C as well. The main difference is that what I found is the schedule. Now, keep in mind, and I'll tell you this a slide later, everything is based on your audience. So nothing that I say here is set in stone. You're gonna have to figure out what's best for your audience. I can tell you, follow the exact same steps and you'll reach the exact same results. If it was that easy, everyone would have done it, right? I'm just here to suggest things. So for B2B, I found personally that my emails get better open rates and better reply rates if they're sent out during the week from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern time. For B2C, it's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time. And this is hell of a lot of difference, right? Because one is early in the morning and then one is late in the afternoon. But it kind of makes sense, right? Like if you're selling bikinis, let's say, which is the use case that, which is the company that we are using for this presentation. If you're selling bikinis, then it doesn't make sense to email them at 5 in the morning. Like I get that a lot of people think about bikinis at 5 in the morning, but when there's work, you're focused on work, right? And then on bikinis, maybe later once you're done. So that's what I found. So keep in mind that if it's B2B, I'm suggesting, and this is just my advice, to email people early in the morning and for B2C late in the afternoon. And let's talk about, okay, no, my bad, test. Okay, we're gonna talk about it later. So please keep in mind that you need to test your own schedule. Start sending out emails. Set up, 3 time zones and then start sending out emails in all those 3 time zones and then figure out what's working better for you. Okay, to the most important thing, which is the sequence. A lot of advice that I can give here, the best advice is, again, test it out. I know that you've seen that a lot. Every email marketing blog that you open has testing involved, but it's really the most important thing. Now, what I can recommend is figure out. We have a 3-step sequence. One is the first email where we introduce the product and we say like, hey, based on your interest, I saw that you were in San Francisco. However, I found that email address as kind of make it known. And then I say, hey, can we provide you a discount? Do you want to participate in our ambassador program? Whatever it may be, the CTA, that's what the first email is. So the first email is to introduce your brand and tell that person why you're reaching out. A lot of different use cases. So it's on purpose that I left out the first email because you cannot copy that. So it's really, really specific to your brand and really, really specific to what you do. So please don't just kind of look for email copies and copy the exact same thing for you. It doesn't work. And that being said, you have to test out multiple email copies. What I recommend, and this is very, very important, is that when you're starting out, aim to get replies rather than clicks. So don't post links from your website if you're sending out, if you're still in the warm-up process or you have just reached full scale. So keep that in mind, right? If Google sees that all the people that are sending emails from your organization, which may be you alone, right, sending out emails from hundreds of accounts, don't send out the link in the first email if you're in the warm-up process or early in the scale, right? So keep that in mind. And the thing is that the more replies you get, the more your IP is warmed up, but also the most important thing here is that not just your email address gets warmed up, but you actually get replies for customers. And that's very, very valuable, because if you're trying to test out messaging, promotions, whatever it may be, then the best thing to do and the least expensive thing to do is ask them via email, right? If you're planning on having any messaging on your website and you're trying to decide between 3 copies, then either use Google Optimize if you have enough traffic, but if not, send the same thing via email, right? Like set 3 email copies and then test out whichever is working better for you. Whew. Now to the subject. What I recommend, and it's not in this slide, so I'm glad that you guys are watching live so you can ask me questions. What I recommend is test the schedule, so test 3 schedules, test 3 email subjects, and then test 3 email copies. And the way to do that is don't test everything at once, right? Like first test out the schedule, figure out with the same email subject what's getting the most open rates depending on the time zone. And then if you're set for one time zone, then great, amazing, right? Like let's figure out if we can improve the email subject and get more open rates. So when you're testing out the email subject, which is after you've tested the time zone, set up 3 email subjects to start with, and then figure out whichever is getting the most open rates. After you have that done and you're satisfied, like let's say that your goal was 60% open rate, right? If you're near 60%, or you've reached 60%, great, amazing, right? Like let's take that. We can further. We always test new things, so keep that in mind, right? Like even when you reach full scale, don't go for 1 email. We still, if we're sending 100,000, 90,000 are the same email with same subject, same copy, same CTA, but 10,000 of those are something new, something that maybe will perform better than the rest of the copy or subjects or whatever it may be, right? Okay, so you've tested the time zone, you've tested the subject, now on to the email copy, and this is very, very important. And figure out what's getting, if replies is what you're going after, then test for email replies. That means keep the negatives as well, because if you're getting a negative response, then great, at least you have a response. So figure out what's working for you, and that's why I purposely left out the step 1. Step 2 for us always is not you, and the great thing about this email is like that's it, right? Like nothing else, like no hi, first name, whatever it may be, only not for you, question mark. And the thing about that is that it makes it very, very easy for the person to reply back, and you're kind of setting them on a like letting them self-select whether they're interested or not, but they have to make a decision. So that's why the great thing about this email, and the great thing that has worked for us, is that it makes the person make a decision right now, even if that decision is no. And the third thing is, this is very standard in B2B. It's the goodbye email, right? And it's like, okay, I guess this is not for you right now. That's okay. Cheers. Some other time. The goodbye emails work because you're kind of stepping away, right? Like, and if I'm interested, at least a little bit, I don't want you to step away. I want you to keep chasing me, right? Even if I'm not responding, but you're telling me that, okay, I'm done. I won't text you anymore. Then that kind of puts me in a position of wait, I'm kind of interested in this. Let's reply. So that's what we have tested so far, and this is what is working great for us. If you want to place links, and this is kind of a side tip, right? The great thing to start placing links after you've reached full scale. Let's say you've been running 10 accounts, 700 emails, 2 weeks in a row. Start placing links in your signatures. So it's very easy thing to do, right? Like put in your signature, link to your website, and then start sending out emails that way. It's still counted as a link, but it's in the signature. So it's a better place rather than keep having it in the email copy. I could not, I mean, please test it out, please. Like, I know that everyone has told you that, and me as a marketer, right? Like everyone keeps telling you, like, you know, test. But let's be honest, right? Like half of the time we're kind of satisfied, and then that's it. But please keep in mind that you have to keep on testing. When we're talking about tests, this is the spam test. So the great thing what's going to help you is figuring out whether you're banned from some email blacklists, as they call them, or some email providers, or something like that, right? And the free tool to do that is mail/taster.com, and they give you an email address, so you send out the email that you want to send out. So that's email number one. You send this to these guys, and then they rate you using a lot of the tools that Google is using to try to figure out where your email is going to land. If it's, you know, it's on a scale from 1 to 10, and then they tell you, like, you know, hey, you can improve. If it's 5 out of 10, then you know, five times out of 10 your email will land in the spam box. But this is an easy way to kind of them figuring out for free if your email is going into a spam folder or not. Now, this is not 100% accurate because it's a free tool, right? Like no free tool like this is going to be 100% accurate. So if you have the money and it's really important for you, like it's important for us, it's G-Lock apps. This is their plans, and they give you exactly, like, you send out emails to, I think, 75, 79 email addresses that they have, which are from different providers, different countries, right? And then they give you a report of, hey, this is how many emails are in the spam folder. This is how you can improve the email not to be in the spam folder. And then this is how to get out of the spam folder if you're in it. So if you have the money to spend, then Glocks is the app to go. Again, no affiliation with them. And I think you have 3 tests per month that are free. So if you know if it's if you want to find out where are your emails landing, then just use those free 3 tests that they have. Okay, now we talk about outsourcing follow-ups. Again, if you're not doing it at scale, then this does not apply to you. But if you're doing it at scale, then outsourcing follow-ups is the best thing I've found to kind of increase what I'm doing. And if for a one-person company, being able to send a lot of emails per day, and that's what I advise my clients to do. So have a script. If they respond positively, negatively, if they ask questions, blah blah blah. So that's why even sending out emails, even though I have 200 people that can send out email addresses, if I want to test something, I'm doing that myself first. And it's not just emails, anything, right? If I want to outsource anything, I want to do it first, figure out the logistics of it and how it works, and then hand that over to another person. So please do that yourself. Figure out what the responses may be, type that up in a script, and then leave it to 10, 15, however many VAs you need to have to reply to those emails that you're getting. Our kind of ratio is hire 1 VA per 10 email accounts. Again, it depends on the scale, right? So you may not need a VA, you may need more VAs, but for us and for e-commerce, it's 1 VA per 10 accounts with a script, and they're paid hourly at first and then on commission. I don't want to pay on commission before I prove them that, hey, this is a product that is worth selling, right? Like that we can make money out of it. And once they see that, and they will see that, then you charge them on commission, because that can improve the success rate by a lot. Even I'm talking about even VAs that have never done sales, right? Like you're hiring your friends or whoever it may be. If you show them that they can make money, and you're telling them, like, you know, hey, you're working on commission, but you can make a lot of money if you're getting good at it, then they will get good at it. Reward your best employees. I mean, I don't have to say this, right? Like it's very, very important to keep your VAs there, because once you have trained them how it works, then you need them more than they need you, right? So make sure that you reward them. The data. All right. So before we talk about the data, Let me see again if we have any questions. Again, I'm going to be answering live questions at the end of this webinar, but I just want to see where we are with questions. Okay, Jason, what do you think about Venmo tool for the US, and is there a role level in a brand company that seem to be working better, C-suite customers or middle management, etc.? So for us, look, we're targeting consumers, right? It really depends. Like a C-suite customer or middle management, like it really depends on your business. Working for B2B, I really like, if the product is great, I really like the bottom up approach, trying to reach the customer that is going to use the product, and then through them use them as a champion to get to the C-suite or middle management or whoever you need to sell this thing. All right, so let's continue now to the data, which is the most important part of this presentation, and it's coincidentally what we provide. So I've worked with a lot of B2B tools like Discover or ZoomInfo that are selling data for B2B businesses. The thing about that is that there are not a lot of B2C, not any that I can think of, that are selling data for B2C customers. And the reason for that is GDPR, CCPA, and all these other laws where you cannot just take a person's email address or, they have given that email address to you and now you're going to sell that out to tons of different companies. That is forbidden by law, right? But the thing is that Instagram as a tool has our target. So it's very, very unique, in a unique position, especially for B2C businesses, because we can look at the categories, we can look at their interests, we can look at which person they follow, so on and so forth, to try to figure out what the best targets are for our business. And on top of that, when a person provides their email address through Instagram, they have that email button right there or in the email bio, then they are providing that by themselves. So they want to be reached out to, right? And by law, if a person has their data information provided, and they do that when they check Instagram, when they select that they want to make their information public to be contacted by other users, then that's a very unique position to be in. So that's why we made this Instagram Influencers Club, which is a B2C contact data from Instagram you can trust. So yeah, we're scraping and getting emails from Instagram along with interests. A lot, 28 different data points to give you and any e-commerce business or anyone who's targeting B2C customers. As a channel comparison, like average CPC for us, average CAC, personalization, average bounce rate from the website once they click through, right? So we have seen, maybe even more, but in general, we have seen 600% ROI, which is just a very, very unique position to be in. And when you think about it, email has always been the best channel for ROI. Always. Like there hasn't been a channel that has topped email in terms of the spend and how much you can make on that spend in return. So with this client, by the way, I can't say that their name. I'm sorry, they're a bikini brand, but I'm bound by NDA not to mention the name. We have sent out so far 8,500,000 emails, with 95% inbox rate, 60% open, and 20% reply rate, and we're selling daily 5,000. Now it's $7,000 dollars per day in product, which is just amazing when you think about that. The only thing that brings in this revenue, the only thing, is targeting people via email, and then if they don't click, retargeting them. But still, the top of the funnel is only emails. No Facebook ads, no Google ads. Nothing like that. I've left this slide on purpose, right? And that's how we comply with GDPR, CAN SPAM, and CCPA. I'll send this over to everyone who's registered for the webinar after this is done. So this is why I want to go bullish on sending out emails through Instagram, because it's a very, very unique position to be in. And what the future holds, like other than emails, we provide phone numbers that can be used for cold calling, upload the same list to Facebook as a custom audience, create lookalike audience, which are performing really, really well. WhatsApp campaigns, use SendGrid to send even more, like millions of emails per day, but that's way more advanced and is a topic of another webinar. And yeah, that's it. So we have come to the end of this webinar, and I want to give you anyone that reach out to us, either on instagraminfluencers.club, or this is my email, and at instagraminfluencers.club. We're giving away 200 free contacts, and that includes like email, phone number, plus all of the data points. And that can be from your niche, your competitor account, hashtags, location, whoever is your ideal persona. Feel free to reach out, whether schedule a call on the website or reach out to me directly on email. Let me know what are you selling, who are you planning on getting from Instagram, and then we are very happy to provide you with all this free context so you can try doing this yourself. There's nothing to it, right? And we're not going to make you do anything else. Just reach out to us and we'll send out whatever you need to kind of kick this thing off. All right, so we are ready to answer some questions. Let's see if we have some more here. What was monthly cost to send out 8 million emails? Oh, that's a good question. We have 120, I think, accounts, G Suite accounts, and keep in mind that we also have multiple domains that we're sending out from, plus the data. I can't give you the exact number, right? It was not a lot, since the ROI was 2.5 million annual recurring revenue. So even if we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we are not, definitely not, then the ROI is still there. So Jason, thanks a lot. I'll be here for 5 or 10 more minutes, depending on the questions. But feel free to ask me anything really, like. That you can think of. If we have a domain, add example in G Suite. If we have A, add example B. Could these be the warm-up accounts? Nitesh, yes, but try to send to accounts that are not from your domain. Please make sure that you do that. So send accounts that are not from your domain. What did you ramp up to per day per account in GMS? 700 is our limit that we want to respect. If we go below that, or even if we go above that, like if it's not that much, if it's not by a lot, right? If we're not going for 1,000 or 1,200 emails per day, then that's fine. As long as our emails land in the inbox. So as long as our emails land in the inbox, then we're good to go. Cool. Let's see if I have missed any questions. Dan is our CMO. Dan, thank you for answering some questions for me. Yep, understood, but essentially I'll have no negative impact on my domain itself. No, if you're sending out emails between your domains, there's no way you're gonna have a negative impact on your domain. So you can feel free to do that. It's not going to be a good warm-up though, right? Because Google knows that that's from your domain. We're not sending out emails from regular Gmail addresses, so it's only G Suite. Regular Gmail addresses are based on that. Like their limit is 400 emails per day. That's the limit. So we're not using regular Gmail accounts, only G Suite. All right. Let's see if we have some more questions. If using regular free Gmail over G Suite, are there issues with having, say, 20 plus accounts logging in from the same IP? That's a good question, Paul. So first of all, please don't use free Gmail. I mean, if you're trying to get anywhere, right? Like the cost of a G Suite account is $6 per month. So make sure that you don't use free Gmail accounts. And try not to log in. So we use a VPN whenever we can. So try not to log in many accounts from the same IP all the time, right? Try to use VPN. There are ways to get around it. So Nitesh, the signatures can have negative impact, but sending out just links, right, like links straight away, that's going to have a greater negative impact on the domain itself. So if you have reached scale, you can feel free to have links in your signature. Sorry guys, this has a 20-second delay, I think. Wow, that's a huge delay, YouTube. So that's why I may be answering your questions a little bit later than you're posting them, but I'm reading everything. Well, all right. I think we can close this session down. Like again, let's go back to the slides here. So thanks everyone for let's see. What's the charge for Contacts Pass for the free offer? There's no charge. There's no charge. So this free offer is exactly that, free. So there's no charge for getting 200 free contacts, right? Like 200 free contacts. You message me, go on our website, and you'll get them for free. There's no hidden cost or anything like that. Let's see. I don't know why I'm not reading all the questions that I have. How can you handle possible responses if you have managed 100 plus email addresses? Well, Ben's exactly what I said before, right? Like I don't know if you saw those slides, but you are not managing responses by yourself. You have VAs that are managing the responses for you. Given that you hire how many VAs you need to scale your efforts. All right. Few other questions. Any recommendation from proxy provider? That's a good question. Blazing proxies, I think they're working kind of okay. Other than that, I just use VPN tools that you can always once you log in, you can always change your IP. All right, that's it. Well, thank you everyone for being here today. Sorry that we messed up the link again. But we'll send out this webinar to whoever is registered. If you have any questions, instagraminfluencers.club or n@instagraminfluencers.club. Anytime, schedule a call with me. Let's figure out what your ideal use case is. Reach out for us 200 free contacts. And that's it. Thanks a lot and see you in the next webinar.